back here at HGC North America, where we have Endemic versus Simplicity coming at you, and a few roster updates because we have some subs for Endemic, not just one but two. Michael Udall suffered an injury earlier this week, unable to perform this weekend. He will have Homicidal filling in for him, and due to an emergency, B-Kid is having to step out last minute. Dreadnought, they're picking up Zane Hyde, who comes in from the #1 Open Division team, the main tank for Scythe Esports. So Endemic will have a few familiar yet unfamiliar faces by their side for today's matchup.
And it only gets amplified in the fact that they are still amidst a bit of a role swap. So suddenly, a lot of questions. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if somehow we see in this game, like, Big E's back on range for a game, like, and somebody else is supporting. I'm not totally sure what's going to happen when it comes to those hero pools itself. It's going to be interesting to watch that unfold. But that being said, LFM, I feel like this is a prime opportunity considering that. With the success that we've gotten as of Endemic as of late, you look at this and you go, this is an opportunity to get ourselves a big win here.
Especially considering that when we look at the standings, they find themselves in the #7 spot. Simplicity is right above them, a team that will be playing tomorrow versus Tempo Storm. LFM, they need to start picking up those wins. Simplicity already holds that win earlier, so LFM has tough task ahead of them to get those wins. But if they can pick up a win over Endemic, this would be striking while the iron is hot for them. And Endemic sitting in that #5 spot, almost pretty much confirmed for the playoffs, but still have some work to do.
But, you know, LFM has been looking pretty darn good here as of late here with the adjustments of picking up Fury and as the momentum has kind of come out behind them. But then Dark Chimera now on the support role. I feel like Droplets on the backline has looked very good for this group, and even Swab standing out on the offline. So I do actually feel like this is a prime opportunity. I'm not going to be honest here, not seen enough of Zane to don't know whether or not I feel like how successful this is going to be. And obviously Endemic with double role swaps, what that looks like, I don't know. Or double roster swaps, I don't really know. But I look at this and I go, I actually think I might put LFM as the upper hand here, and I want to see them have a dominant performance.
I'm not going to argue with you on that one. We've got LFM and Endemic to hear their thoughts on this series, obviously not knowing the roster changes for this weekend, but we still have their thoughts nonetheless.
I think for us to have a consistent performance is we're gonna have to like expand their hero pool. Since we hero swap, you know, with me and Udall, I don't know, we haven't really figured out all the heroes yet, so we're gonna work on that this week. LFM, I think they're a pretty good team. It seems like they can beat top teams and then lose the next day to like a bottom team. I don't really know where they're at. I just think we need to not underestimate them. I think who we gotta look out for is Droplets. That guy is a living legend. We just gotta not get wiped by him. Should be good. If we're playing strong, I expect it to be a 3-0, but you know, if we're struggling a little bit here and there, I'll say it's a 3-1, but yeah, should be a win.
My overall thoughts on Endemic is they don't really know what they want to be, like how they want to play. The role swaps are part of it. They don't have a support player. They have multiple assassins switching off the support player, and I just feel like they don't really have a plan half the time, and it's exploitable. I think Endemic they'll be close games, but I'm expecting us to win most of them, so a 3-0 or 3-1.
Sure, I heard from Dansky. He felt confident about those thoughts prior to some of the changes that we have. But Dansky is one of the people that I love when somebody speaks confidently, but also has the skill to back it up. Dansky has all of that in the total package of a player that you want. He's going to have some big shoulders this series if he wants to put this team on his back, given the circumstances.
And I think it's not just him, you know, him and Cure. When they moved over to this roster together as the dynamic duo that they're kind of becoming, if you will, within the Heroes competitive scene, I think that they are the ones that we're going to be looking at in this series and going, if they're going to be successful, they need to rely on these two. Dansky with the individual plays, but Cure also has had really standout performances, I feel like, as of late. So it's going to be cool to see if they still have that kind of synergy and elements, and if that's something that they can rely on, again, with all these changes coming through.
Well, let's find out what battleground we're going to and see how all the action will unfold. As the map bans will come through, and Endemic will ban Dragonshire. LFM's going to rid of Sky Temple. Our first battleground will be Towers of Doom.
When going to towers here. Don't feel like it's too surprising for either team. One thing that we've got to be noting is last time that we got Homicidal at the HGC North America, I believe it was subbing in for Heroes Hearth Esports. And we got him on, I think it was almost all 3 games. It was Dahaka here. So something I'm looking at is just the hero pool of Homicidal. Are we still going to see sticking to the Dahaka? Is that a different role now considering this group? And
there's potential for a different role, I think, coming in.
And that is one of those things I'm not going to assume until we see the games. But that is, you know, is the Dahaka going to be a go-to in multiple drafts here for Endemic?
If they play it standard, I wouldn't be surprised. But Zainhide is part of a team with Scythe that they run HGC level drafts. They have a coach that's been around. He comes in from time to time. He's worked with the Octalysis guys in the past. I don't know how much impact he has, but I do know that their drafts reflect play versus HGC level team.
Yeah.
And they come up with unique drafts. They come up with unique styles. I don't know if that will translate more towards Endemic or Endemic will translate more towards him. Zainhide, he's qualified for the Crucible. They're primed and ready to be one of the top teams, so they have a very strong sub in the form of Zainhide. They also have Homicidal, ex-HGC Pro, is still working his way to get back to the HGC as well. So they have 2 very hungry and strong individuals, and for them, it's nothing but experience for them, but for Endemic, it's a very good, welcoming sub. 2 subs to have.
And I think that there is a pretty cool matchup in this series now that you put it that way with Zainhide on the front line, being a player who has not, you know, made his name in HGC North America, maybe not yet, but after today, having on the other side one of the longest standing warrior names that exists in North American Heroes of the Storm, and that's Fury. I think pressure to the front line is one of the biggest elements that it deciphers the difference from that lower level play to the HGC, as Warriors feel a very different amount of pressure consistently. And I think it's going to be cool to see, you know, can Fury find ways to, you know, maybe be like, hey, this is what you're going to feel like now walking into HGC here in the past. As we go through the bans, got ourselves the first pick, Abathur, out from Endemic.
And it's something they can use. This is a play style that I've seen from Scythe Esports in the open division. They've run Abathur style compositions. They know how to play with and around it. I think the familiarity is there. And for Endemic, it might be a matter of shaking things up. We're going to get the Diablo Genji on the side of LFM, allowing Fury to have that aggression on the front line.
Even though with that and having Fury on the Diablo, I feel like that has been one of the weaker meta picks for him as of late. And I'm saying that not as in I don't think Fury can play Diablo, because he, again, has been playing so long. We've seen him be able to make those plays on this level. But something since his time on the LFM roster, when he's not on things like the Muradin, the initiation kind of all-in synergy from the team and the follow-up from the backline doesn't always seem to be on the same page. So I'm going to be keeping my eyes on that even more so now they got themselves that Genji.
Well, there's the Abathur composition with a Greymane this time. We saw it in our previous series, was with a Rainer on the side of No Tomorrow. Greymane, a more traditional clone target, given the burst potential and the short duration that you can have a clone. Greymane impact can definitely be there to trade out Johanna for Zainhide, potentially on the front line.
I do feel like already we see some of the adjustments within the roster coming through on the draft, and the fact that it is a high Greymane in that type of situation with the Johanna. More often than not, you would expect that to be either the Muradin in response or Tyrael, something else to be able to join. Probably not going to be the Tyrael, at least that high in priority. Either way, I feel like we're seeing that come to light here, but we'll see how it moves into the draft, even more so when going up against a Genji. But who knows, maybe this is when Endemic innovates. They go the Falling Sword, synergize the dive in with the double Greymane.
It's been fun to watch as of late. Whitemane deals with momentary damage pretty well between burst healing as well as the Scarlet Aegis. So taking that away from LFM. We'll get the Divine Palm potential, maybe 7-sided strike. But you also have the block with the Earth ally to deal with the auto attack damage that will come in from Greymane.
Yeah, I like the composition that LFM has. A lot of offensive synergy, but also death wall opportunities between the AoE healing, AoE armor, individual isolation with Genji Karazim mobility, point and click CC from beginning to end. Composition pretty well rounded. Doesn't have maybe some macro holes, but other than that, they're just fine.
Malthael and Rhaegar. If I get Yrel 35 armor, block charges, physical armor from the Earth Totem, and debilitating flames from Diablo at level 16. Does anybody kill me?
Probably not.
See what their damage. Do we get another Leeming double reset comp, or will this be something more traditional like a Phoenix or Raynor who has somehow made it through?
Cassia.
That helps even more.
It does help. It does help even more when looking at the raw team fight. You know, limiting a double gray main, double blind for a double gray main really is going to hinder them. Clump deathball compositions, which you normally can expect from Abathur style play, is really good as well for the Cassia Charge Strike, or even if you don't go Charge Strike build, Cassia is just great against clump groups. But it doesn't commit to that one hole within their composition that we were talking about already. I don't think Endemic has enough macro pressure to really be too afraid of it, but I can't help but feel like Rhaegar, pretty good wave clear. You know, Johanna, pretty good wave clear with the Abathur hat. Malthael's not too shabby in that avenue. There might be a situation if Endemic gets a bell tower conversion that they're going, where is our ability to get the comeback here? The team fight, it's amazing as long as they're always on even footing.
That is scary when you look at that. Charge strikes, we've seen it, but we've also seen the Thunderstroke pick up. There's also Seraph's Hem possible if you need the cooldown reduction. I think that would be too all in as a counter. I think you need more offensive punch here. Charge strikes might be your only saving grace for wave clear. With that Cassia, Diablo doesn't exactly scream wave clear city. We're going to see how that unfolds. It's time for game number 1 here. LFM taking on Endemic.
And here they are in the blue. It is going to be LFM, where we have Diablo played by Fury. Swabs in that off lane, repping the Urel. Gonna have Droplets playing the Genji, looking for those resets here. Figgy on the Cassia, and Dark Chimera repping that Karazin.
On the right side in red, well, it's a mixed bag of sorts. Dansky, one of the rocks here. He's gonna be on gray main. Cure, letting Hami take that off lane rolls. He's gonna be on the Abathur. Biggie, he'll be on the Rhaegar, new support player as of last week. Hami will be on the Malthael. And Zainhide, support coming in from the open division, subbing in for B-Kid. He's going to be on Johanna.
Interesting lane offset here from Endemic already. Looking for a rotation. Watch this. The minute they move through that shrub, Totem, all in. With the Abathur hat, I'm ready. The Totem wasn't there, but they still threaten a little bit.
Yeah. I really wondered if we would see maybe a change up in the laning right out of the gate, just due to the lack of wave clear. Iron Fist Karazin, once you have minions, scary to be in. Zainhide gets the block, or excuse me, the blind in to thwart some of that early structure damage.
Do you feel Zainhide maybe feels a bit more intimidated purely on the fact that he doesn't have a 3-letter acronym before his name? I think I would.
Well, we had to tweet at us about what our Cho'Gall name would be.
Yeah.
Well, they kind of broke the rules on what they sent it to us, but if it was, it would be Dre J-House.
Yeah.
It's kind of bad, but it's just 4 letters for me.
Feels bad. Double Sapper pickup here for the two teams. Homicidal is going to have to deal with Droplets here. Actually missed the Switch Strike, so a lot of damage lost. Still going to continue forward, but Homicidal makes it out.
I'm just wondering what comms are like. Because, look, they've all played Hero League together.
Yeah.
They all know who each other are.
If I was to guess, I
Probably fun.
Well, in my head, they're definitely fun to a certain extent. I think that's one of the biggest things when you go through major changes like this that you can do is at least rely on having fun, because last thing you want to do is have a kind of a negative tone as things kind of play through. But I don't know. If I was to guess, I feel like the natural leadership that you typically see from Cure would kind of take out to a certain extent, where he'd be like, you know, within comms, very vocal and things like. And you definitely rely on some of the rocks within Endemic. It is interesting, though, knowing that Zainhide on the front line and how vocal typically Warriors are going to have to be. Yuri probably being a little vocal now as they flip over, drop a blind. A lot of damage coming through onto Dansky, but the counter blind, that was huge from Zainhide. The 4-man blind was, I think, only reason that he was able to retreat there and not go down. That was big.
It was money. First altar phase will be that triple altar phase. The positioning will be interesting to me. We have on a Pale Horse from Malthael. So it looks like he'll channel the top right. Wondered if we might get some Abathur play around that with Abathur compositions with the support. Sometimes we see teams concede differently. But we see Endemic instead, they're going to use Dansky and Biggie to at least harass this top left altar for now.
See how it works out for them. It's going to be really good for them, actually, if they can delay one more time. Not going to be the case. Abathur split soak on bottom, while the full rotation up towards top could have been an opportunity to find ways to get an experience advantage over LFM. But they're going to play it a little bit slower here. Understandably so. If you have an Abathur comp and you're going dead even in experience and not losing too much in the core HP as the game moves on, you're going to be thankful. Droplets, can you find the reset? Homicidal going to go in there with that Ray Strike. And in the end, LFM get the reset. Droplets needs to use it again.
Got that. Fury.
Oh, that was beautiful.
The Abathur hat went on that minion, and Droplets was like, skirt. Like, hold on a second.
Cyber agility and everything.
He's like, oh my god, no.
Fury was, I've never seen a Diablo so pissed off at a minion in my life. No.
Oh, that was fun to watch.
They make it out, and in the downtime, Endemic is able to get their Sapper camp.
Wizard Duelist Greymane here, Dreadnought. Not something you would traditionally see into the blind style of a Cassia. But considering the alternative, you will be diving in with this comp.
I still, something in my heart is screaming, this has to be a falling sword. But the only thing that's saying that is purely just on the, having somebody to join that Greymane moving forward. Dansky gonna get flipped over, switch strike through. Droplets end up getting the reset there. Another kill here for LFM, and well timed. 15 seconds out from that next objective. Even gonna let these sappers kind of get escorted in. Unlikely to have Zanehyde be able to pressure out.
I really like the changes to Wizened Duelist, but there was always that captivating factor of the old Wizened Duelist, is it was all or nothing.
Yeah.
And a few years ago, DreamHack Summer, the run of Tempest, the Wizened Duelist was the #1 choice, and you were all in on that. When you had that stacked, you were one of the most terrifying heroes in the game. The new one's still strong, but there was always that hinging factor that was always cool.
I'm surprised you didn't like it that much more. It feels very Butcher, where you just, once you get it, you just chunk everybody.
You can still lose it, though.
I mean, I guess you're right. Yeah.
Half of it now.
Just doesn't have enough fresh meat for your liking. 10 still out of range. Zanehyde, a little bit split, drops the Iron Skin, gets the blind out. That's the last interrupt opportunity available unless somebody makes a rotation down. Nobody gonna do so. Dark Chimera says thank you for the 4 shots and completes the channel.
Almost where you would expect. You mentioned it after the first altar phase that for an Abathur comp, you want to be on even footing in terms of experience without giving up too much. Unfortunately, they give up both of those altars.
Yeah.
Post level 10, you can't keep affording to give that style up. They're going to have to do a lot more.
Yeah, that's when, even if you don't win, you need to buy time so that Abathur can be impactful in some way, shape, or form. But he is pretty limited within a double support composition. I say double support, but when you pick Abathur with a full support, it just makes your early game skirmishing that much more limited. When you don't run with the traditional support, your early game's actually not that shabby, because as long as you can wait out 2 rotations of an E, most of the time you get the same healing, but you make up for it in the increased damage output you have by having that pseudo support Abathur. Heroics are now here. Sapper's going to be started. No commitment for Karzim in terms of heroics. This is a game where I would still expect, well, with the Curse Bullet all-in composition with the last rights, you got a palm, and that's the choice.
Ball Lightning is out, and it is bouncing around, and there we're going to see Droplets come right in. That is 2, that is 3, and that is 4. As Droplets confirms the kill on all the targets because Abathur's the only one. And that Ball Lightning to set it all up. I can't help but hear now that echo of Dansky in the interview we did with him. We just have to make sure Droplets doesn't wipe us.
And Droplets going like, boys, mission accomplished here. One of our younger members of HGC North America, something to keep in mind, joining us post-mid-season brawl. Really coming into his own here.
It was neat, our first day, because he got to fly out to Sweden to media. And It was our it might have been day number 1 or day number 2. I remember reaching out to him on Twitter and I was like, hey, you know, I'd like to sit down and talk. I actually got to meet him and Last Hope, the other newer member for Fnatic. I had dinner with him the first night, and I was instantly a fan of Droplets. I mean, you can only know so much about a player through watching them through Open Division and the small like interactions you can have, but sitting down and talking to him, I was an instant fan, a very, very good person to get to know. It's hard not to root for him, so any success he has, I'm always a fan of a lot of our players, but it was just a really neat interaction with Droplets.
Yeah, it was cool to be able to have him fly out and be able to meet up with us a little bit there. Zappers going to meet up with Endemic down below. Curse Bullet going in onto Fury. Lightning Ball response. Ancestral ends up landing there. Dainsky keeps up. Big impact actually using the cleanse there. Zapper's still going to be a problem. Blast goes out, gets a lot of damage. Zainhide ends up getting the shield, but one Sapper makes its way in to the core of Endemic.
Yeah, Homicidal was taken down in the top part, I believe, by Genji and Urel. So another setback. Is it 7 kills to 0? Droplets will get the dismount onto Zainhide.
For anyone wondering why Genji is such a valuable character, think about if any other character was to do what you just saw and 3 people move through a choke and go, I'm going to dismount this stuff. The answer is even Murden goes, should I throw this Storm Bolt? Because I might die if they get me after this Dwarf Toss. Genji, not afraid there.
Old Murden with Unstoppable on his Dwarf Toss, though.
Homicidal needs a Dwarf Toss Unstoppable there. That was actually Condemn interrupting the Overpower, which is why we didn't see that flip over onto Homicidal.
I've really liked the adaptation from some of our players lately, the double Overpower at 16.
Yeah.
I really like it, especially with Feast on Fear. But we've seen some of the players start to adapt to it for different reasons. I think one of them was to try and counter a Genji. Like, if you get the flip and then the charge, because there's a cooldown between them, and then get the flip again, you can control some of those flanking style heroes. I don't know if it'll be here against this style of play, but it has been a nice adaptation. Debilitating Flames against the style of an all-in comp is very, very strong to mitigate that damage.
Yeah, it is. It really makes that Abathur Cologne kind of all-in play look a lot less appealing, especially when paired with any other debuff, as 3 Sappers make their way into the core of Endemic through the bottom lane here. And JHL, we are rounding a pretty tough circumstance here for Endemic over these next couple of shrines, because 10 HP still remain onto the core, and 16 is going to be won pretty significantly by LFM as they go in with the Blessed Shield. Biggie is going to be the focus here as they actually think we got ourselves a very early palm. Ancestral doesn't end up connecting, and that is Homicidal going down. Cure on the clone, trying to get droplets. Blast goes through, and mission accomplished. He gets the kill.
That's a 1-for-1 as Fury continuing to go through. There's the slow. He's going to get the flip back. The cleanse is there. Ancestral will land in time to keep Zainhide alive. But go back to your point, Dreadnought. 16 still almost here. Genji will be back in time for this. Endemic, if they give up 2 altars with this bell tower still down, it's game over. Game number 1. It's just 2 altars. There's always the potential of just getting all 3 or 2 on a boss.
Yeah.
For LFM if that was recaptured, but Endemic is all in on the defense here without recapturing that bell tower.
This is a moment where I'd like them to set up a trap towards the town portal if Genji is ever going to take it. I guess town portal is not even available, so never mind. Not even at that state of the game.
It's super
I was going to
close.
say, like, that's one of those moments where maybe you can catch a risky rotation. Top right going to be picked up by Abathur. Top left now going to be attempted here. Homicidal gets interrupted. Swabs burns the Ardent Defender. Droplets is there along with Figgy. Gets the blind out.
Nice last right.
Going to be the focus for now. Last rights ends up getting the pick there onto the Urel. Homicidal interrupts as Droplets goes in with the Swiss Strike. A lot of damage there with that Lightning Ball. But Dainsky in that Greymane looking hungry as everybody of LFM so low in HP. Kira comes in with the clone, and now it is time to clean shop. Droplets getting the reset number 1 on the backline. Got blinded, but goes in for another. Finds it. Gets a third. Is that going to be a 4th? Nope, but it would look pretty.
Enough. That is enough. They just need 1 channel. It's an Abathur and a Malthael versus 3 members of LFM. The town portal close to being active. If they can stall out just a few seconds longer, I don't know if they'll have time, but Droplets, it's been mission accomplished so far. The self-cleanse in case Fury goes in.
That was clean.
The hat's there.
Combo goes down. Debuff applied. Kill acquired. Channel starts. Call it a day here. LFM with that 12-3 in terms of kills. Will be able to take up these 5 shots. and we'll be able to take game number 1 here over Endemic. J-How, it was pretty heavily dominated by LFM throughout a majority of that game. But we do know this is, again, a 2-man roster adjustment temporarily here just for today for Endemic. And I feel like that's one of those, you know, you can understand here, especially taking the Abathur comp, taking the risk of the slow pacing early game. That was a good punishment from LFM.
It's hard not to pick the Abathur on Towers of Doom. We know how much potential strength it could have. The Genji on the other side was very strong. Droplets confirming 7 of those kills throughout that game. And in the fights where he went off, it was a team effort. The ball lightning came in, and each time Droplets was like, well, thanks for taking those health bars down. How about I get this? It's the same concept you brought up earlier. Li Ming play more of the poke-oriented role in the series we saw earlier. Li Ming gets them down. Genji's the finisher. It's like, you do your role, I'll do mine. Everybody set it up. Oftentimes we call out Fury's name for setting up, getting a lot of it going. He was the beacon. He was the ward on the front line. But it was the back line of Droplets and Figgy that really tore that game open. Yeah,
it very much was. And they did have a lot of situations that were kind of ideal for them as well when you consider the fact that they had a Genji into there was a Greymane Rhaegar Malthael. Like, very few times you go, wait a minute, Johanna's the only target on my opponent's side that I can't easily get a reset. And that's even better whenever you get the clone available because the clone still can provide that soft reset. So it's like, you aren't going to clone a Johanna, so I get a free reset of this. It just worked out for the Genji to really be able to pop off. I mean, I'm not saying Droplets had an easy game, but he had the right circumstances, and he executed well.
They were optimal. We can actually take another look at that last team fight to see how it did unfold, because a lot of it was about Genji kind of cleaning up in this. Swabs goes in for the interrupt, but it's all about when Droplets and team come in, because obviously the Ardent Defender usage there was enough to buy time.
Yeah,
before the rest came in.
We're still a ways out from the high relevant moment. It's actually the reinitiation from Figgy and Droplets that's the biggest impact moment of this. It's going to be there, waited out. They actually, for a moment, take a lot of damage, but it is this turnaround. When you watch the backline dive by Droplets, watch this. When he executes,
he's first.
Yeah, he's real ready to set things up here for the team.
And you can actually see the autos for him to pull through those autos. It's pretty amazing. He waits for the double here, goes through. He's all over them.
Yeah. And at that point, all she wrote there by Droplets.
That's a real song. Is it his book, a song, or a story?
I think it's a song. It's probably a song.
That's All She Wrote by Droplets. I don't know if we can actually get that. I'm going to work with him this week.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I'm down for a mixtape, you know?
Droplets mixtape. Just Genji switch.
Drop the mic lits. I'm sure that's it. Think about it.
That's a reach.
It was.
That was a reach if I've ever seen one. But I like it.